Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and we're back again with this should hopefully be an interesting video. Some of you may have seen just recently I uploaded a video talking about TTM guitars after lots of ads kept popping up on my Facebook. Did a bit of digging, found what I believe to be some astroturfing, so talked about it. And then Lance Benedict came and sent me a message and said would I be up for talking to him about things, and I'm always up for things like that because obviously that gives us an opportunity to get the other side of a story and to see what someone else's perspective on things are, because yeah, it's always important to get that. So any chance that we can do something like that, I'm more than happy to do that. So say hello, my friend.
Hello, Scotland.
How's it going? Going good?
Good. Yep.
So yeah, you're the owner of TTM Guitars, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you've just had am I right in saying you relaunched recently? Would you consider it a relaunch?
Yeah, last July 4th,
yep.
Just a little over a year ago, we did the relaunch of the company.
So let's wind back. Let's talk about you. Where are you from? Where does TTM Guitars come from? Because I know you were about, I don't know when the company originally started, but I know obviously you were making guitars back in 2009. So tell us a bit about yourself.
So, yeah, TTM started, officially started in 2007. I got the idea in 2006. I was living in Miami Beach, which is my hometown. I was originally from Miami Beach. And I had been restoring old guitars. And one day I just looked down and said, you know what, I could probably just make a brand for myself. So in order to do that, I thought the best thing to do would be to come back west, where I had a lot of my music connections. And we officially started it in 2007. And it was going really well. I moved out of the garage fairly quick into a nice facility, and we were doing great. And then we got sued by a band. And even though we ended up prevailing in the lawsuit, it was 2.5 years of really hard times, because, you know, I don't know if you've ever been through anything like that, but it takes a lot out of you.
Yes.
And like I said, even though we won, it was a bittersweet victory because I had gone through so much and lost a lot of business, and had employees I let down, and it was tough for everybody. You had mentioned David Ryan earlier.
Yep.
David was a guy that worked for us from the very beginning. He had a lot of sweat equity in the company, and he ended up, we made him an offer to buy the company out because I didn't really have the passion after that lawsuit.
I can
imagine. Dave, yeah, we came to an agreement with Dave, and then he was trying. I give him that. He was trying his best to make a go of it. He changed the name intermittently without our knowledge, and I kind of knew something was up because we had worked out a payment arrangement with him, and I always told him, if you can't make the payments, I totally understand that. Just let us know. But we got a message from one of our artists, Mark Kendall, at the time. He was from Great White. He was doing an in-store, a clinic in New York. And he called me, and this is while I'd been trying to get a hold of Dave to find out why he hadn't, made the payments. And he called me and said, hey, you didn't tell me you guys changed the name of the company. And then it all kind of came together. I said, what's the name of the company? He said DRC, which is David Ryan, and C would be for customs, I guess.
Okay.
So it all kind of came together then, and it was all fine. I mean, I don't really care what he did, I just wish he had told me in advance. But anyway, he couldn't, he had so much going on, I guess, and just couldn't afford to go through with the payments. So I talked to him and I said, you know what, I just got done with a huge lawsuit, as you know, and I don't want to go back to court. I don't want to sue you. You don't want to sue me. All I want is the name, the TTM name back, because I said someday I might do something again with it. And he agreed to that. His lawyer and my lawyer hashed it out fairly quickly. He got to keep, he had a bunch of, equipment and parts and stuff. And that was that. And then it kind of settled, I guess, in 2012 without ever going to court. And 5 years later, it was actually 2016, my son and I were walking through the NAMM show, and my son said, you should, no matter what happened in the past, you were doing so well, there were so many good things going on, that you should probably relaunch it, and I'll help you. So we did, and then in 2017, we started, and we actually went to NAMM as an exhibitor for the first time in 2018.
Okay.
So that was the relaunch, and the relaunch has been very, very, it's just been overwhelming. It's been really good.
Yep.
We've got a lot of the same artists came back, but we added so many more new artists. And I guess the biggest transition would be after NAMM, the Chinese company that was building our guitars, they kind of caught wind of everything, and he wanted to charge me basically about what it would cost to make a guitar here.
Yep.
So, I talked to my partner, and he said, you know what, screw it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it here. It was always cost prohibitive because it's expensive. These machines are expensive, but it just kind of threw my partner, Pat, which is he's a phenomenal guy. That's really what made it happen, and transited everything here to the United States.
Okay. So I'm just for confirmation, I wasn't sure if this was serious or not, but TTM is taller than midgets. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. So do you know the story behind that?
I don't know the story behind it, but I would love to hear it.
Okay. So when I was in Miami, I actually put a lot of my own money that I had, because I did fairly well in real estate in the early 2000s, and I took a lot of that money, about $500,000 with me to invest in some projects in Florida, bands primarily. Right. And one of the bands I was producing at the time was playing at a very famous club called Tobacco Road. It's no longer there, unfortunately, but it was very, very well known for touring musicians. And we were there one night to support them. And this band was an opening act. They came out, and they were really shredding. And there was this little dude, he was like the lead guitar player, and little guy. And I had a couple of beers, and I was driving home, and I started thinking to myself, dude, that guitar was actually bigger than the guy, So it just kind of was funny at the time, and I said to myself, you know what, that would be kind of funny if I actually started selling my old Stratocasters and Gibsons or whatever I was restoring at the time on a website called Taller Than Midgets. So I went to the, register.com or whatever to get it, and it was taken. I couldn't believe it. It was like, and the guy that had it wasn't a midget. He wasn't a small person or whatever. He wanted 10 grand for it, and I kind of tried to get him down a little bit, but he wasn't budging. So I got tallerthanmidgets.net for whatever, $15. So when TTM came to fruition, I didn't have a name for the company. We were already out here, and a couple people were saying, well, the acronym for Taller Than Midgets is TTM. And I was like, that would be kind of funny. So we branded ourselves as TTM, and I kind of took a little shit for that from another article we did. I think it was, I don't know, Mark Kendall was doing an interview with Guitar Player back in the day. I think Guitar World, or I don't know. It's out there, but they mentioned that, and he said, yeah, it stands for Taller Than Midgets. And I said, I have nothing against small people. We love them, especially when they play guitars like that. So yeah, that's how the whole TTM thing came to be.
Yeah, I can laugh at stuff like that. I'm okay with guitar companies having funny names. I'm a big fan of Vagina Guitars and their marketing, and they're really doing some good funny stuff. I'm okay with that. And I've got no time for the perpetually offended. All these people complaining about Satchel from Steel Panther's pussy melter effects.
Right? Like it's all over. Yeah, it's all over the internet.
So they're a fucking satire band. Don't take it so seriously.
I know that. that was my son. He's really just a really good kid, light-hearted, and just he takes everything with a grain of salt. And he was always like, this whole guitar thing is so serious. Why is everybody so serious? We're even making a shirt right now for NAMM. It says, "Are you a guitar spy?" And it has like a one of those detectives with a magnifying glass looking down at a guitar, because it's like you're in we call it the GIA, the Guitar Intelligence Agency. It's like there's, I don't understand it. It's like you're making guitars. It's not rocket science. It's not a real big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, I guess, people that are so competitive or whatever have to, get up on what's going on. So they infiltrate other guitar companies. I see that. It happened to us, actually. The first time we were doing this, we had a guitar company come in and, unbeknownst to us, take a lot of photos of, all of our Chinese parts, back in the day. I didn't read Chinese, it's just a bunch of weird scribbles to me. But, somebody that posts that on the internet obviously can go, oh, that's where that came from, that factory. So we know where it gets. So yeah,
corporate espionage in the boutique guitar land.
Exactly.
So let me drill down into that comment, because obviously when you rebranded, well, relaunched, I should say, you made this big push for 100% USA built, and I'm sure that's absolutely the case. And I thought that you might be a little bit hush about the fact that back in the day you were importing parts from China to build those guitars. So would it be fair to say then that there's a noticeable quality increase from the old guitars versus the new guitars? Because from talking to old artists, new artists, people that have played your guitars, and just reading reviews on the internet, it seemed that around the 2009 time, quality levels were understandably a little bit out of your control, because things were being sent to you and you were having to deal with parts that weren't being crafted by your hand. So what can you say about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's amazing to have stuff done right under your nose. It's hard to imagine, because like you said, we would get bodies and necks and parts sent to us. I mean, we used Spurzell tuners and original Floyd Rose on some of the high-line guitars, but a lot of the stuff was from a company in Korea called Sungil, which does very good quality hardware. But when you're doing it all here, it's exponentially better. It's in so many ways. Just buying the wood, our factory is located up north. It's about 600 miles from where I'm at. And when I go up there and I visit, it's amazing, because the wood supplier is right, it's all redwoods and trees up there. And it's amazing because you get to pick out the timber. And I got to say, though, the ramp up has been a little bit more difficult, because we've had to learn stuff. Before, I would just draw guitars in Illustrator, and I would send them to China. And they would send me demos, and I'd say, okay, this horn's a little long, whatever. We'd get it right eventually. But now, doing it all in AutoCAD and Rhino, it's, we've had to bring on people and stuff. So for me, it's been a learning process. But yeah, the quality, it's just amazing to be able to do everything here. Obviously, price has gone up and stuff, but people don't mind. There's a market.
Oh yeah, people will absolutely pay for quality. So just on average, what are guitars retailing for now? What's the retail price on what year are we in? 2018. A 2018 TTM versus what you were looking at cost wise in 2009.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably percentage wise 300 or 400% more.
Right.
We are shooting for a hardtail, all-American guitar. It'll probably be the Devastator, which is our kind of our Jackson knockoff, basically. But it'll have to be in a hardtail. We're trying to shoot for a guitar at $999.
Okay.
Because that would be amazing. We're using Planet Tone pickups now as our default pickups. We've got a great deal with Jose, and but throwing a Floyd Rose in the guitar is expensive. We were buying some of the guitars for what Floyd Rose costs, back in the day. So the price point now average is probably going to be in the $2,200 range for a nice guitar. Some of these more exotic woods and real custom spec stuff gets over $3,000.
Yeah, that's what I saw. And looking at guitars back in the day, I couldn't find retail prices, but I could find comments on forums of people buying your guitars on eBay for sort of $400 and lower, for what were kind of being billed as like custom instruments. And to me, this is the thing that I find most interesting about all of this is when you relaunched, it strikes me as odd that you didn't rebrand, because I think inevitably you're going to be dogged by 2009 TTM 2009 and that reputation. So on that hand, it's kind of good that you're okay with that and that you're moving forward and confident with the brand, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's a great point. There were a lot of discussions about that. Should we rename the company? We're going to do this, and inevitably it was just like, well, no matter what you do in life, you know, there's going to be people that, you know, just don't get it or don't like it or whatever. And the way I weighed it, you know, I basically put it on a scale, and I thought we had done so much good that outweighed any of the bad, whether it be publicity or reviews. So it was just, in my opinion, let's just go with what we did before and build on that.
Yep. No, fair enough. Yeah, a lot of the people, you know, TTM avid users that I've been talking to have all kind of said the same thing to me, which is, have you ever actually played one of the guitars? And obviously the answer is no. But I feel that a lot of those guys have missed the point. Like when I've been talking about TTM guitars, I'm not commenting on the quality of the guitars. Obviously I can't comment on the quality of the guitars. They're all USA made. I'm sure they're great. I don't actually dispute that. I'm sure that probably is going to be the case. My issue was actually the Facebook marketing and having things thrown at me and your endorsement system. So talk to me about that. What's what's the mantra behind that? Where has this come from?
I'm sorry, what was the last part of that?
So you put up a post just recently talking about, well, it might not have been just recently, but talking about your endorsement program and why you're doing things the way you're doing, where you're offering out endorsements to guys that traditionally wouldn't be offered endorsements. Right.
So we had this idea it's not revolutionary at all.
Yeah.
It was basically to offer artists that typically get an opportunity to get endorsed, you know, with a major name company, an opportunity to get endorsed and to pay whatever we have a couple tier levels to pay a discount price, which is, you know, no different than ESP or Jackson or any of them do, if you're not a so-called name artist.
Yep.
So the only thing I think that we did that was maybe different was we went out there and just said, hey, we do it. We offer endorsements. Send us your stuff. We've gotten so many responses that we're actually, our selection process now has become pretty intense. It's going through a couple people now before they hear it. But the bottom line is, a guy that's been playing guitar for 30 years that has never had an opportunity to be endorsed or have any, you know, real name recognition, we're offering that to him. Even a tier 3, we offer at basically manufacturing costs, and then because there's other things behind that. You know, once you get an artist or a player to play your guitar out there, you know, word of mouth is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they go out there and they can talk, and that kind of advertising you can't buy.
Yep.
So it's really helpful to us. And then we make them we give them other perks too. The tier 2 and up now they get press releases, and we also offer them invitations to NAMM. Not everybody can take up on that because of their location,
sure.
But it's a good thing for people that have never had the opportunity to come to NAMM and actually perform at a booth.
Yep.
So
yeah, I do get all of that, and I'll come on to an artist list in a second. But so my take on it is you're listing off the things that are being offered there. But when you say press releases, like, who cares? Like, you've got a guy that lives in a small town in Texas. What benefit is it to him that you have a press release? Like, That's not getting people to go to his shows. It's not getting labels interested in him. My experience of endorsements is an endorsement comes about after a level of achievement. It's not you get endorsements and then because I've been that guy where I've worked for companies where I'm getting emails from people who have done nothing professionally, but they're like, I'm endorsed by this company, and this company. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You don't get endorsed and then get work. You get work, and then from that come endorsements. Improve. What's the word I'm looking for? You're getting the sign of approval from a company. So when I look through the things that you're offering, like a press release, artist pricing, fair enough, interviews, concert promos, superb notoriety, like I'm just not seeing it. I don't see the value you're bringing for an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I can see your point there. What I think we're doing for someone that's in a small town in Texas is work that might have 2 or 3 likes on something, is we're trying to give him that bigger basic, notoriety on all the media platforms that we use, so it does hopefully get people more in tune to what he's doing and encourage people. The internet's obviously a big place.
Yeah.
So if there's a guy that's, looking for more recognition and doesn't have that, that's what we're hoping we're doing by offering him, a spot on our artist roster, and also these other perks we're doing, like buying the guitars at costs and things like that.
But so let's mention the star of the last video I did, Dave James Coombs. I have to look at someone like that and ask myself, have you brought him his career value, or has he bought your business value? Because the cynic in me, and I'm well known for being a bit of a cynic, would look at this situation and say, you are getting a lot more from your artists than they're getting from you. Just look at your Twitter. You're listing off an artist a day that you're signing up. And it's almost like it's clever, I get it. You've got this group of hundreds of people now that feel they're getting special treatment for you, and they become a bit evangelical about things. You've got guys like Dave James Coombs that, in all honesty, I think you should have a word with him. I think he's done more harm for your brand than good, because he's going on forums like 7string.org, where he's not a member. He's signing up, and again, 7string.org, it's in the name, and he's posting pictures of his 6-string and making out that he has no affiliation with the company, and saying, oh, I bought this is such a great guitar, you guys should really check this out. And it's not difficult, this is how this all came about, it's not difficult to find out when guys like that aren't genuine. Like, he's going on forums and astroturfing, he's trying to build up your brand for you, and that's great. But you said it earlier, you've got all these artists, they are promoting your brand. To me, I look at this situation and you're bringing in all these artists and it's for you. It's a brilliant business model. I just want to say, let's not pretend it's for the artists. They are doing a hell of a lot more for you than you're doing for them.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could. That's your opinion. I mean, that's fair, I guess, to say if that's your opinion. But we're all about reciprocation. I mean, for guys that want to own a nice guitar for the cost of it being, basically our manufacturing costs, and then to use this kind of promotion and publicity on their resume, I think that says a lot about what we're doing as a complete, team, and our whole business model is about being one big family. So we're just trying to reciprocate. Yeah, it's great to have people support us. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
that's what all companies want.
we're a business.
Yeah.
If you talk to, probably anyone that's bought a TTM, even in the old days, they can reach out to me anytime, and I'm there for them if they need something. It's not like I don't think they get that from other companies. So there is a lot more probably underlying that, you don't see that I do for our.
Yeah. But, when I look at other companies and getting endorsements with other companies, you're totally right. You are absolutely right. I have endorsements with companies, and it's sometimes difficult to get a response from somebody over at the company. They're so damn busy and they're putting a lot of their time into the top level artists. But what you said there was, if these guys want to get an endorsement and get themselves a good guitar, get themselves a good high quality guitar, they don't know that. And we could, if I'd had more time to prepare this, we could bring on a lot of ex-artists that will tell you they never got a good guitar. They got a guitar that they needed to put a lot of money into to get into good quality. And every endorsement that I've ever had, any company I've ever worked with, it's never been a case of that blind talking to a company saying, I like the idea of your guitars. I've never played one. Can I have one, please? You're putting pictures of all of your artists up on Twitter using other guitars because they don't even have a TTM in their hands yet. So I don't see the value of all of these people, what they're bringing to proceedings when they can't stand behind TTM guitars and say how great they are. They don't even have one in their hands yet. They're about to hand over some money to get one in their hands, which again is all good for business, but there's a lot of promises, and with respect, history would suggest that you've offered people a lot of promises in the past and not delivered on them. So what's different now?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fair to say, because a lot of the people, well, all of the people in the past, they got imports that we built here. I mean, we received, I remember when we started chugging along, we received a container of guitars. I remember it was 555, so it was easy to remember the number. Half of those guitars were horrible. We had to do so much to try to bring those cars, you know, and back then it was like, how are we going to lose on 270 guitars? We have to, you know, do the best we can by, routing things and taking the necks off and trying to fix these crappy necks, you know. Someone asked me at NAMM last year, how did you make these necks so good now? And even though we were still talking about imports, I went through a lot of different companies in China and Korea to find the best one. That wasn't easy. But yeah, a lot of the old guitars, for every story you hear of a bad, you know, guitar, there's probably 10 out there that aren't talked about. You know, typically, I think typically it's more of a negative.
People complain when no one makes a comment about something they get that they love. People go on Yelp to leave a negative review.
I mean, we're not perfect. I'm not claiming we're perfect. What I'm trying to do now with the new, you know, generation, obviously, is get as close to perfection as I can. I think by being a guitar player and knowing what I think most guitar players want with this style of guitar that we make, I'm pretty certain that this new USA model is going to be very, very well received by the people, not only the artists, but just the basic customer that's looking to buy something through American Music or wherever we're distributing.
Yep. Okay, well, I've got two more questions then, I guess. One of them would be regarding the Facebook ad that kind of brought me into this, because I'd seen the ad. The ad had appeared on my Facebook. Very, very efficient Facebook marketing there. Good sponsored posts. They definitely know they're going to the right people, right? So I saw it a few times and just kind of skipped past it. But every now and again, I'll see an ad on Facebook and I'll take more interest. I know that the ad itself isn't of interest to me, but I'll take an interest in if it's of interest to other people. So I'll click on the comments to read what's happening. So I read the comments in there, and there was James Coombs with his long comment, very similar to what he'd posted on various forums. That was how we outed him. And that comment had been posted a couple of times. Someone else had posted the exact same comment word for word, which seemed fishy. But the question I have for you is, so that advert, I believe the text on it was very simple: get endorsed, ! Free guitar, ! Right?
Right.
So you get a free guitar if you're a tier 1 artist, yeah?
You get a free guitar if you're a tier 2 artist.
Tier 2 artist, okay.
Yeah. So what happens, and you get a free guitar all the way, basically. So what happens is, do you have the PDF? I can send it to you.
I don't have the PDF, no.
Okay. So what happens if you're accepted as a tier 2 artist and you give us 2 years of continued support? You know, you have to show us that you're supporting the brand. It's non-exclusive. We understand you want to play your Les Paul and you want to play your Telly or whatever. But if you're a tier 2 artist and you give us 2 years of support, you get a free guitar after 2 years. And you become a tier 1 artist at that point. If you're a tier 3 artist, it's the same principles apply. You can move to tier 2 after 2 years of continued support. Now, we've given these a couple of these guys from Europe and stuff. We've got some really amazing bands that I didn't know about. We've given what we call 1.5s,
right,
where we basically just make them a guitar for free, but they pay us for the Floyd Rose or whatever they want on it. You know,
okay,
stuff we don't manufacture, like pickups and
right,
the hardware. So, but yeah, you get it. Basically, the end game is, of course, if you get in, we've probably since we started this program, we probably, just guessing, maybe 12 tier ones, probably maybe a half dozen 1.5s, maybe 20 or 30 tier twos, maybe about the same amount of tier threes, 20 or 30. Right. And now lately, we had a meeting actually last night about the selection process. So, because we're getting a lot, we don't want to tell anybody. It's art. It's art. You know, we don't want to tell you, hey, your music sucks or whatever. Yeah. We want. I mean, you know, it's art. Everyone sees things differently. So we want to give everybody, you know, some hope and some, you know, commitment from us. So we tell them, even if they don't make tier 3, hey, check back with us, you know, next year, and you know, yep. we'd like to support you, but it's reciprocal, like you said. Totally. We need support from them too.
Yeah, if they're not bringing anything to the table, I get that. So, yeah. Last point, and I was checking something there while you were talking a second ago. I brought up my YouTube video because in the YouTube video that I did, I was screen capturing, and I was on the website looking at the 3 tiers, and I'm now just reading through that again, and something jumped out to me as having changed. So I just wanted to check my video to make sure I was right on that, because all of the top comments on my video were pointing out that you'd misspelled Megadeth.
Yeah, I heard that last night. Something like, we took it off last night.
Well, that's been removed, right? Megadeth has been removed. Now here's the question: was Megadeth removed for which of these 3 reasons? Was it the typo? Was it the fact that Glenn Drover, the artist that you were potentially working with, doesn't want to work with you? Or was it running the risk of having another lawsuit from a band because Megadeth, the band Megadeth, don't endorse your company? Megadeth have nothing to do with your brand, but you were giving the impression that they do.
Well, yeah, I'd probably say it was number 2. Glenn, you know, decided after speaking to us and even sending us some parts here that I have to return to him in Canada now. Fun. That he decided that he just didn't want to work with us. He didn't really give us any reasons. I kind of have my own thoughts behind that. But yeah, when you know, a lot of people didn't even know that he played in Megadeth. I had to do I had to do a Wikipedia myself, because I always like to. It's, you know, of course we want to say, like with the Bob Daisley endorsement, I put he played in AC/DC because it says so in Wikipedia, but then I got a whole bunch of people telling me, hey, he never played in AC/DC, so I'm like, oh, okay. He's played in so many projects, I just assumed he did. Plus, he's Australian. But yeah, getting back to your point, it was 2. It was number 2. I'm not really worried about lawsuits anymore. I know how to handle lawsuits, so it's like, they suck. But yeah, it was probably number 2, because Glenn just decided he didn't want to play. Right. And last night, actually, when we were having this conversation, they kept telling me, hey, the MEGE death is still on the website. And I said, no, it's not, because there was on 3 parts of the website.
Right. Okay.
And then my artist, my A&R guy, we have 2 of them. One of the guys, Jess, he told me it's on the page where you click on artist endorsements. And I said, oh, because I only took it off the artists and right. the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this is the one that you get when you click the Facebook ad.
So here's some breaking news. We're actually talking with another guy we're building another guitar for a guy today from Megadeth. We almost got him 10 years ago, and then we talked a lot, but nothing happened. Last night he definitely decided on a guitar, and it's the Randy Jackson guitar. I had no idea, and I think that's how we got him, because he loves Randy Jackson. I didn't know that. It's not one of the main guys from Megadeth, but it's another one of their guys that, you know, did some tours.
Sure.
And we're gonna make that announcement today, so hopefully we can put his name back up there and list all of his credits as well.
So you just said did some tours. I'm not going to try and work out who it is, but yeah. So when you say this is the point, right? You know, Bernie Tormé or Brad Gillis or even Joe Holmes. These are all guys that played guitar for Ozzy Osbourne for short periods, right?
Right.
But I think having Bernie Tormé play your guitars and then putting, not that you put that, but if Bernie Tormé played your guitars and then he played like 2 shows with Ozzy, putting that as an endorsement for Ozzy Osbourne is questionable. I think we'd all agree, yeah?
Well, I don't know. I think you'd have to ask them. I mean, really. I mean, if they're listing it, I mean, everybody's trying to get, move up in the world, right? If their best band they played with was their garage band, whatever the name was, Joe's Garage Band, and then they got a tour with Ozzy. Okay, here's a good thing on that. Another guy we were working with since NAMM, that's not a TTM artist. Again, wow, we did so much. Joey Tafoya. Yep. We did so much for him, and he was doing photos with our guitar, and we were going to do all these announcements and all this stuff, but it just never went down, and it was kind of actually driving me a little crazy because I was like, God, what else can we do? But anyways, my point is, he's doing 6 or 7 shows coming up with Quiet Riot.
Right.
He's going to fill in for Alex, and I think today, or I saw the post today, but it had about 500 likes, so it must be a week or 2 old. But he's going to use that obviously as a catalyst, right?
Yep.
To get his name out there. So I think when guys say they play with a band, I mean, I've done stuff I've never even mentioned. I've played with bands I never even mentioned because I only played with them for 3 shows or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I guess it just depends on the person,
But that's like, to me, that's like a second cousin twice removed. Like,
yeah, I get that.
Joey can say, use I played with Quiet Riot to get him another gig. But you're saying we endorsed this artist that played with this band a long time ago. To me, that's the second cousin part. So I see Ozzy Osbourne's name on your site, and to me, that's the point. Like, you want people. This is a nice landing page, Facebook ad. They click it, and down the left side we've got Rush, Motley Crue, LA Guns, Great White. From what I can work out with Rush, you made Alex a guitar and gave it to him.
Right.
But he doesn't endorse your guitars in any way. Is that?
No, we tried. That was kind of like my Hail Mary to save the company.
That would do it.
Well, I mean, I hand delivered the guitar to him.
Yep.
I drove it from here. I live in the desert of California, and I drove it from here to Albuquerque, 750 miles, to bring it to him and Ray Daniels, the manager. And they were blown away. I mean, it was, like I said, it was a Hail Mary. I always thought, man, it would be great. At the time, with all of his endorsements, I knew it was close to impossible. Now, since I live so close to him, he's not here now because he leaves for the summer. He's smart. He goes back to Canada. But now that I live so close to him, there's a possibility with him now because of just what I did before. Sometimes you do things and hopefully they pay off down the road. Well, that's a long payoff, but I guess the worst thing about that is after I made the guitar and delivered it to him, and Ray made quite a spectacle of it at the Hard Rock Casino that night, I got this letter from Alex Lifeson that, it was just a really nice handwritten letter for about a full page, and I lost it. And we were moving, and I think the kid living with us at the time gave it to the mailman by mistake. Right. But anyways, I wish I had that letter, and I told my wife, because she sees him driving around town in his, does he have a Bentley? He drives around town in a Bentley, and I said, next time you see him, just get him to roll down the window. I want a copy of that letter. It means so much to me that he has that guitar in his house, hanging in his house, probably his shrine. I've never seen him play the guitar other than just what he said to me in the letter.
Yep.
But yeah, of course, getting him obviously to say, hey, I'm Alex Lifeson, and hold your guitar on your on any website would be great. It's kind of like the blocks that he uses with FU Tone, the FU Tone guy.
No.
Okay, so this FU Tone guy that makes these really expensive titanium blocks for Floyd Roses.
Okay, yeah.
They're like $400 or $500.
Yep.
You know, he makes them for pretty much every artist. You know, you would never know that by looking at a guy on stage, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But if you look at the FU-Tone artist list, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. You know, he's got everybody you've ever heard of.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't really work out where we are on that. I don't know if we just disagree, or if we're in agreement but you don't mind. Like when someone, they've never heard of your brand, and that's consistent. The Facebook ad is there to reach out to people that haven't heard of your brand. They have an interest in guitars. They're looking for an endorsement. They see your page. They click it. They go through to your page on your website and they see, here's a list of the artists we endorse. Rush. But Alex doesn't endorse your guitars. Motley Crue. What's the deal there? Does Mick Mars play your guitars?
So we don't specifically say that they're endorsed. We just say that there's artists that we have on our list that have played our guitars. Our artists are endorsed. Like, for instance, Bob Daisley. He played with Ozzy. He played with Black Sabbath. You know, his list goes on and on and on. So yeah, there's nobody on our list that hasn't played our guitars. All of our endorsements are non-exclusive too, by the way. We used to do contracts, but contracts are ugly language, and it just leads to, you know, people with different opinions. So it's a handshake deal with everybody we have. The Motley Crue guitar we built for Vince Neil.
That's not what anyone reading your website would assume, is it? Someone's going to come to your website and they're going to go, oh, wow, Alex Lifeson and Mick Mars and maybe Zach Wilde. Yeah, I've got the website open now.
Right. So if you just scroll down, you'll see Vince Neil. We don't say...
No, I'm talking about your want to be a TTM endorsed artist. This is the TTM artist endorsement page. This is the landing page that people are going to land on when they click that Facebook ad.
Right.
They land on this page and it gives an impression. I look at this and, wow, George Lynch plays your guitars? Zach Wilde plays your guitars? Alex Lifeson plays your guitars? Mick Mars plays your guitars? That's what it reads like to me.
Okay. No, I get that. I mean, I guess that's why we break down who the artists are on another page. But that's understandable. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of guitar players that are, you know, guys we can't even name that have played, like we were just talking about, you know, 3 gigs with a band or something, but they're going to use that as their catalyst to say, hey, I was with this band, I played with this band. It just happens. I guess it's just the nature of the business, more or less.
But I just don't think it is. I understand why you've done what you've done here, but I mean, I've been around the world interviewing people for magazines, and when I sit down to jam with these people, for all those years, I'd have my Vigier guitar with me because I play Vigier guitars, and you know, I've had these people play my guitar. You know, they're like, oh, let me have a go on that guitar. But you don't see Vigier putting on their website, you know, Zach Wilde plays Vigier guitars. I'm sure he's had a similar amount of time playing a Vigier guitar as Alex Lifeson has had playing a TTM. But they don't do it because it would be misleading to me. And, you know, the reason the video got so many watches and so many people are talking about it is because to people that look at this, it's misleading. Why don't you list off under all of the artists on that landing page? Here's a few of the artists that we endorse. Why not Dave James Coombs? Why is his name not there? Why are old artists like Ed Diaz not up there?
Well, I mean,
why don't you have Warren Hughes up there?
Who was the last guy you just mentioned?
Warren Hughes or Chris Bigley, Chris Malone. Sorry,
Warren's not an artist anymore.
But you know what I mean, like.
Well, we've done a lot for Warren, probably more than he ever did for the brand. But I mean, that's you know, again, that's reciprocation. We can't hold anybody to the fire about, you know, what they're going to do for us. But yeah, I mean, I get your point. But when someone says, oh, a tier 3 artist plays guitar, it's not as, I don't think it's as
doesn't sell.
It's not as you know, enlightening. It's not as powerful, obviously, as we said, hey, Great White or Poison or Dokken or any of these bands. You know, you see those bands, and obviously it's a whole different opinion. I mean, yeah, it's marketing. We don't want to say, you know, we don't want to just use all of the guitar players. Yeah, we have to be selective, obviously.
Yeah. Do you not fear though that by signing up as many tier 3, which is, let's just say, low-level local guys, do you not fear that that is the thing that scares off guys like Joey? Or
I thought about that.
the answer is definitely yes, definitely. Because I mean, one of my closest friends is an Ibanez endorsed artist. He has a signature model with Ibanez. No names, but people that watch my channel know who I'm talking about. Signature model, and it's one of Ibanez's best-selling models this year. He has been courted over the last 6 years by several different companies, one of whom a local UK builder that I'm also friends with, and he asked me about them. He's played the guitars and he liked the guitars, but he simply looked at the artist list and there was about 40 artists on there and they're all nobodies. And instantly he was like, I just can't, I'm trying to boost my career and I can't have my name put alongside these nobodies. It's just not going to be good for me in the long run. So are you not concerned that the current business model is going to stop you from getting the big guys? And does that even matter to you?
So let me just get back to what you're saying. One of your closest friends is an Ibanez endorsed artist.
Has a signature model.
Okay, and he looked at another website of another, not my guitar company.
No, not your company, but
okay. And he looked on their website, and there was about 40 guys he didn't recognize, and he thought if he was going to go with them, it would hinder his career. That's
absolutely.
What you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, I get that. Again, I think what we're trying to do is just kind of spread the playing field out. I don't think it's gonna. Hey, like I said, at some point in this interview, I'm far from perfect. I mean, I'm just trying to run a guitar company and make people happy. If I'm not doing that, then if you lose the passion in that, it's sure. Like I did after the lawsuit with Slayer. It's hard to do. But yeah, people that have a name, I guess, there are name artists that would see that. Would it deter them? It could. Should it? No. I think that the fact that we're opening up the playing field to other artists that typically wouldn't get a real endorsement, not just, call our company up and we'll give you a guitar for cost or 40% or whatever, but a real endorsement with some perks and stuff and some advertisement and some nice partners to go along with it. Yeah, but I could see your point. Am I worried about it personally? No.
Okay. Well, I guess we can wrap up then. So in summary, like I want to make this super clear for everybody that's looked at the previous video and thinks that I've got it in for your guitars. I don't, and I genuinely only wish the best for the company, and I hope things go in the direction that you want them to. It's running my own business myself. I know how much goes into it. I'm sure you're putting in endless hours, and it's great that you've gone completely US. I'm sure you're creating a lot of jobs for the US market, which again is totally commendable. And I hope the artist program works out, and I hope lots of people pick them up and love them. I am sure the guitars are great. In summary, the only issue I have had from the get-go has been that marketing side of things. What I would deem to be misleading, and what many people also deem to be misleading. I'm glad to hear that quality control issues are in the past, and I genuinely encourage people, get the chance, try a TTM out and tell me and tell other people what you think, because that's really the test, right? If something is of good quality, they're going to play it and go, you know what, these guitars really are great. But Dave James Coombs, no one's listening to you, my friend. You've astroturfed too long. No one can take what you're saying seriously. But a genuine ringing endorsement from somebody that plays one of your guitars in a store or something like that, good. I'm really interested to hear what people say.
Oh, that's great. I really appreciate that. And getting back to your point about any misconceptions about misleading people, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. That's why I talked to you the other day and say, hey, let's do this interview. I don't want people to take it the wrong way. And I think you summed it up nicely by saying just get one and try them out and let the world know how you feel about them.
And huge props to you for that. But by the way, sorry to interrupt, but huge props to you for coming on and doing this. A big thank you to you for that, because a lot of people would. You've been very open and honest, and you've held nothing back. And
anytime, I'll come back anytime. I appreciate you having me.
So cool. So I'll hand the floor over to you. Give us a closing message.
I just want to thank everyone for their support. Obviously, all the people that I've been basically doing my own media for the past year. We just hired 2 girls to to handle that for us. They seem more apt at doing that than me. I just get reports. But yeah, all the people that have stepped up and all the artists, some of the artists, didn't want to come back, and I can't blame them. I mean, it was hell. I got to be honest, but the new ones we have, and the people that continue to support the brand, I want to be there as much as I can and make the best guitars for the best possible price. And I'm always here to help anyone that has any problems. And it's all about you, the artists, and the customer, and just being a friend of the brand. And you're welcome to come see us anytime. We're actually we have some insurance things we're working out at the factory, but we are going to do tours there. I know there's a couple of schools nearby that want to have their kids come by and see it, so we're going to do that soon. And also at NAMM. NAMM's a good opportunity to meet us if you haven't yet. So I appreciate you having me on, and look forward to any questions anybody has regarding this video.
Awesome. So hit these guys up on Facebook, Twitter, and the like, and yeah, check out their endorsement program. It might be for you, it might not, but like I say, if you have the chance, do try out a TTM, because yeah, this is how word spreads. You might play something and think it's lovely, you might think it's dreadful. We're all interested to hear these things. But yeah, genuinely speaking, wishing the guys at TTM all the best. So if you have enjoyed this video, hit this button down here to subscribe. You can check us out on Patreon by clicking this button up here, and you'll see 2 more videos here and here. Do check them out. Leave comments. I always engage with all of you guys in that comment section. Thank you so much for watching all of these videos, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.